I am Dr. Michael Harrison, and today I want to share something with you that could genuinely change the way you think about your hair. Now, I know what you might be thinking, another video about hair loss, but please stay with me for the next few minutes because what I am about to share comes from decades of clinical observation, research into traditional remedies from cultures with remarkable longevity records, and my own journey of discovery that began with a patient who walked into my office nearly 15 years ago looking utterly defeated. You see, in my 40 years of practicing medicine, I have learned that some of the most powerful health solutions do not come from pharmaceutical laboratories. They come from kitchens, they come from gardens, they come from traditions passed down through generations in cultures where people routinely live healthy, vital lives well into their 90s and beyond. Japan is one of those cultures. And today I want to tell you about a traditional Japanese approach to hair health that uses three simple ingredients you probably already have in your kitchen right now. If you are over 60 and you have noticed your hair getting thinner, if you see more of your scalp when you look in the mirror, if your ponytail feels half as thick as it used to, or if you are finding more hair in your brush than you would like, I understand exactly how that feels. I have sat across from hundreds of patients who have experienced this exact frustration, the anxiety of watching your hair change, the embarrassment you might feel when the wind blows, the way you might avoid certain hairstyles or lighting because you do not want people to notice. Here is what I want you to know right from the start. Hair thinning after 60 is incredibly common. It happens to the vast majority of people to some degree, but common does not mean inevitable, and it certainly does not mean there is nothing you can do about it. The approach I am going to share with you today has been used in Japanese households for generations. It involves onion, garlic, and olive oil, three ingredients that, when combined properly and used consistently, may help support healthier, stronger hair growth. I have seen it work. I have patients who swear by it. And the science, as I will explain, actually supports why these traditional ingredients might be beneficial for aging hair. Now, before we go any further, I need to be completely clear with you about something important, and I want you to listen carefully to this part. I am a physician sharing educational information with you today. This video is meant to inform and empower you. It is not a substitute for personalized medical advice from your own doctor who knows your complete health history. Hair thinning can sometimes be a sign of underlying health conditions, including thyroid disorders, nutritional deficiencies, autoimmune conditions, or hormonal changes that require proper medical evaluation. If you are experiencing sudden or dramatic hair loss, if your hair loss is patchy or accompanied by scalp irritation, or if you have other symptoms that concern you, please see your healthcare provider for a proper evaluation. What I am sharing today is a traditional remedy that some people find helpful as part of their overall hair care routine. It is not a cure, it is not a treatment for any medical condition, and results vary significantly from person to person. Your experience may be different from the stories I share. Always patch test any new topical preparation on a small area of skin before applying it more broadly, and discontinue use if you experience any irritation or adverse reaction. With that understanding in place, let me tell you about Robert. Robert came to see me when he was 63 years old. He was a retired school principal, a man who had spent his career standing in front of classrooms and auditoriums commanding attention with his presence. But when he sat down in my office that afternoon, he looked smaller somehow, diminished. He told me he had stopped attending his monthly Rotary Club meetings. He had declined invitations to speak at his former school district. He had even started making excuses to avoid family gatherings. I asked him why, and he pointed to the top of his head. "Dr. Harrison," he said, "I used to have a full head of hair. Now look at me. I can see my scalp through what is left. My wife tells me it does not matter, but it matters to me. I feel like I have aged 20 years in the last 5. When I look in the mirror, I do not recognize myself anymore." Robert's blood work was normal. His thyroid was functioning well. He did not have any underlying conditions that would explain his hair thinning beyond what we typically see with age. I talked to him about the biology of aging hair, about circulation changes, about follicle miniaturization, and then I mentioned something a colleague in Tokyo had told me about years earlier, a traditional Japanese remedy that some families had been using for generations. Robert was skeptical at first. "Onions and garlic on my head," he said with a slight laugh. "My wife is going to love that." But he was also desperate enough to try something different. We talked about realistic expectations, we talked about consistency, and he agreed to give it an honest effort for at least 12 weeks. I want to tell you what happened with Robert. but I am going to save the rest of his story for a little later, because first I want to make sure you understand the science behind why this traditional approach might actually work. Before I continue, I want to hear from you. How long have you been dealing with hair thinning? Has it been a few months? A few years? Maybe you have noticed it changing gradually over a decade or more. Please write in the comments below and tell me about your experience. I read every single comment personally because I believe we are in this together, and your story might help someone else who is watching this video feel less alone in what they are going through. Drop a comment right now and let me know how old you are, where you are watching from, and how hair thinning has affected your daily life. I genuinely want to hear from you. Now, let me explain the 5 key points about this traditional Japanese hair remedy, starting with number 5, which is understanding why hair thins in the first place, after we reach our 60s. This is the foundation for understanding why onion, garlic, and olive oil might help. Your hair follicles are among the most metabolically active structures in your entire body. They require constant blood flow delivering oxygen and nutrients to support the rapid cell division that produces hair growth. Here is what happens as we age. The tiny blood vessels called capillaries that feed your hair follicles become less efficient. Blood flow to the scalp decreases. This is not dramatic, but it is measurable, and over years and decades it adds up. Your follicles are getting less of what they need to produce strong, thick hair. At the same time, your scalp produces less of its natural oils. These oils, called sebum, do more than just make your hair shiny. They create a protective barrier that keeps your scalp healthy and your hair follicles functioning optimally. When sebum production decreases, your scalp becomes drier, your follicles become more vulnerable to damage, and the environment for hair growth becomes less hospitable. Then there is oxidative stress. Your body produces molecules called free radicals as a byproduct of normal metabolism. When you are younger, your antioxidant systems handle these efficiently, but as we age, oxidative stress accumulates. Research suggests that oxidative stress damages the DNA and proteins in hair follicle cells, contributing to follicle miniaturization. This is when your follicles produce progressively thinner, shorter, less pigmented hairs until eventually they may stop producing visible hair altogether. Hormonal changes also play a significant role. For both men and women, the hormonal landscape shifts after 60. Dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, is a hormone derived from testosterone that can bind to receptors in hair follicles and trigger a process that shrinks them over time. Even women produce some testosterone and DHT, which is why hormonal hair thinning is not exclusively a male concern. Finally, there is inflammation. Low-grade chronic inflammation increases with age, a phenomenon researchers have termed inflammaging. This background inflammation can affect hair follicle health and cycling, potentially shortening the growth phase and extending the resting phase of hair development. Understanding these 5 factors, reduced circulation, decreased natural oils, oxidative stress, hormonal influences, and inflammation, helps explain why the traditional Japanese remedy of onion, garlic, and olive oil might be beneficial. Each ingredient addresses one or more of these underlying factors. Let me move to point number 4, which focuses on the remarkable properties of onion for hair health. Onions have been used in traditional medicine across multiple cultures for centuries, but their specific application for hair health is particularly prominent in Japanese and Middle Eastern traditions. What makes onion potentially beneficial for aging hair? The answer begins with sulfur. Onions are extraordinarily rich in sulfur compounds, and sulfur is a critical building block of keratin, the protein that makes up your hair. Your body needs adequate sulfur to produce strong, resilient hair fibers. When you apply onion juice to your scalp, you are delivering bioavailable sulfur directly to your hair follicles, where it can be utilized for keratin production. Beyond sulfur, onions contain a powerful flavonoid called quercetin. Research has shown that quercetin has significant antioxidant properties, meaning it can help neutralize those free radicals I mentioned earlier that contribute to follicle damage and hair thinning. Quercetin also has anti-inflammatory properties, which may help address the inflammaging process that affects scalp health. There is also emerging research suggesting that compounds in onion may help improve blood flow to applied areas. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients reaching your hair follicles, exactly what aging follicles need to function optimally. Additionally, onion has natural antibacterial and antifungal properties. A healthy scalp microbiome is essential for hair health. When harmful bacteria or fungi overgrow on the scalp, they can contribute to inflammation, dandruff, and follicle damage. The antimicrobial properties of onion may help maintain a healthier scalp environment. I want to be clear that while traditional use and some preliminary studies are promising, more large-scale research is needed. However, the biological mechanisms make sense, and the generations of traditional use provide what we call experiential evidence that should not be dismissed. Now let me tell you about point number 3, which is the benefits of garlic for hair health. Garlic shares some properties with onion, which makes sense since they are botanical relatives, but garlic also brings unique compounds to this traditional formula that complement what onion provides. The star compound in garlic is allicin. Allicin is formed when garlic is crushed or chopped, and its cellular structures are broken down. Research has shown that allicin has potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Some studies suggest that allicin may help protect hair follicles from the damaging effects of oxidative stress, potentially preserving follicle function as we age. Particularly interesting is research suggesting that garlic compounds may help inhibit the enzyme that converts testosterone to DHT. Remember, DHT is the hormone that can bind to follicle receptors and trigger miniaturization. If garlic can help reduce DHT levels at the scalp level, it could potentially slow or reduce hormonal hair thinning. I want to emphasize that this research is preliminary, and more studies are needed, but the mechanism is biologically plausible. Like onion, garlic also contains sulfur compounds that support keratin production. It has antimicrobial properties that promote scalp health, and some research suggests garlic may help stimulate circulation when applied topically. The combination of onion and garlic in this traditional Japanese remedy is not accidental. These two ingredients have synergistic properties that may enhance each other's benefits. The sulfur compounds in both ingredients support hair protein production. The antioxidants in both help protect against oxidative damage, and their combined antimicrobial effects help maintain optimal scalp health. This brings me to Sarah, and I think her story is particularly meaningful because it illustrates something important about expectations and patience. Sarah was a 67-year-old retired librarian who had noticed significant hair thinning at her crown and temples over the previous 3 years. She had tried numerous commercial products, spent considerable money on supplements, and even considered prescription treatments, but was concerned about potential side effects. When she heard about the traditional onion and garlic approach, she was intrigued but also skeptical. "I am a researcher by nature," she told me. "I spent my career helping people find information, but when I looked into this, I kept finding anecdotes and traditional use rather than large clinical trials. Should I really put onion juice on my head?" I told her what I tell all my patients. Traditional remedies that have persisted for generations often contain genuine wisdom. The absence of pharmaceutical company-funded clinical trials does not mean something does not work. It often simply means there is no profit motive to fund expensive research on ingredients that cannot be patented. Sarah decided to try the remedy with a methodical approach befitting her research background. She documented her starting point with photographs. She committed to 12 weeks of consistent use, and she managed her expectations, understanding that results, if they came, would likely be gradual. After 8 weeks, Sarah noticed her scalp felt healthier, less dry, less flaky. She told me it felt more alive, though she acknowledged that sounded unscientific. By 12 weeks, she believed she could see some improvement in hair density, particularly at her temples. The hair there looked less sparse, more filled in. Was it dramatic? No. Did her hair transform overnight? Absolutely not. But Sarah felt she had made genuine progress with a natural approach that had no side effects and cost almost nothing. She has continued the remedy as part of her weekly routine for over 2 years now, and she remains satisfied with where her hair is. Let me continue with point number 2, which is the important role of olive oil in this traditional formula. Olive oil is the third ingredient, and it serves multiple crucial functions that make this remedy work effectively. First, olive oil is an excellent carrier oil. Both onion and garlic, while beneficial, can be harsh on the scalp if applied directly in concentrated form. Olive oil dilutes and carries these ingredients, making them gentler while still delivering their active compounds. It helps the remedy spread evenly across the scalp and penetrate into the hair follicles. Second, olive oil is rich in oleic acid, a monounsaturated fatty acid that has moisturizing and conditioning properties. Remember how I mentioned that aging scalps produce less natural oil? Olive oil helps compensate for this, providing the lubrication and protection that aging follicles need. It creates a favorable environment for hair growth by keeping the scalp supple and hydrated. Third, olive oil contains its own antioxidant compounds, including vitamin E and polyphenols like oleocanthal and oleuropein. These add to the antioxidant protection provided by onion and garlic, creating a comprehensive shield against the oxidative stress that damages aging follicles. Fourth, olive oil helps seal moisture into the hair shaft itself. As we age, our hair tends to become drier and more brittle. The cuticle layer that protects each hair strand can become damaged and raised, leading to frizz, breakage, and dull appearance. Olive oil helps smooth and protect this cuticle layer, resulting in hair that looks healthier and breaks less easily. Finally, olive oil has mild anti-inflammatory properties that complement the anti-inflammatory effects of onion and garlic. This comprehensive approach to reducing scalp inflammation may help create optimal conditions for hair follicle function. Now I want to give you the detailed recipe and preparation instructions. Please pay careful attention to this section because proper preparation is important for both effectiveness and safety. You will need 1 medium-sized white or yellow onion, 3 to 4 cloves of fresh garlic, and approximately 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Make sure your olive oil is genuine extra virgin quality, as this contains the highest levels of beneficial compounds. Lesser quality oils may not provide the same benefits. Start by peeling and roughly chopping your onion. Place the chopped onion in a blender or food processor and blend until you have a smooth puree. Strain this puree through a fine mesh strainer or cheesecloth, pressing firmly to extract as much juice as possible. You should get approximately 3 to 4 tablespoons of onion juice from 1 medium onion. Next, peel your garlic cloves and crush them thoroughly. You can use a garlic press, the flat side of a knife, or simply mince them very finely with a sharp blade. The crushing is important because it activates the enzyme that produces allicin. Let the crushed garlic sit for about 10 minutes after crushing. This waiting period allows the allicin to fully form, maximizing the garlic's beneficial properties. After the garlic has rested, combine it with the onion juice in a small bowl. Add your 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil and mix everything together thoroughly. Some people prefer to warm the olive oil slightly before mixing, as this can help the ingredients combine more smoothly, but do not heat it too much. Lukewarm is sufficient. The mixture should be prepared fresh for each application, or can be made ahead and stored in a sealed glass container in the refrigerator for up to 1 week. If storing, allow it to come to room temperature before applying, and give it a good stir as the ingredients may separate. For application, part your hair into sections so you can access your scalp. Using your fingertips or a small applicator bottle, apply the mixture directly to your scalp, focusing on areas where you have noticed the most thinning. Gently massage the mixture into your scalp, using circular motions for about 5 minutes. This massage helps improve circulation and ensures the mixture is well distributed. Once applied, cover your hair with a shower cap, or wrap it in an old towel. Leave the treatment on for at least 30 minutes. Some people prefer to leave it on for 1 to 2 hours for potentially deeper penetration. If you have sensitive skin, start with shorter application times to ensure you tolerate the treatment well. After the treatment time, wash your hair thoroughly with a gentle shampoo. You may need to shampoo twice to fully remove the onion and garlic scent. Some people follow with a diluted apple cider vinegar rinse or a scented conditioner to help neutralize any lingering odor. For optimal results based on traditional protocols, apply this treatment 2 to 3 times per week consistently for at least 12 weeks before assessing results. Patience and consistency are essential. This brings me to William, whose experience taught me something valuable about the importance of realistic expectations and persistence. William was a 71-year-old retired engineer who approached this remedy with the precision you might expect from someone with his background. He measured exact quantities, timed his applications precisely, and kept detailed notes of his observations. After 4 weeks, William told me he was ready to quit. "I do not see any difference," he said. "Maybe this does not work for me." I encouraged him to continue, reminding him that hair grows slowly, and 4 weeks was simply not enough time to see meaningful change. Hair follicles have growth cycles that span months. Even if the treatment was helping, it would take time for the effects to become visible. William reluctantly agreed to continue for another 8 weeks. At the end of that period, his assessment changed entirely. "Dr. Harrison," he admitted, "I think I was wrong to be so impatient. The hair I have seems stronger. I am noticing fewer hairs in the drain, and I think, though I cannot be certain, that some of the thinner areas are filling in." William's experience illustrates why point number 1, the final and most important point in our countdown, focuses on consistency and patience. This is the point that makes everything else work or not work. You can have the best remedy in the world, but if you do not use it consistently and give it adequate time, you will never know whether it could have helped you. Hair growth is slow. The average hair grows only about ½ an inch per month. A hair follicle that has been struggling may need weeks or months of improved conditions before it produces noticeably stronger hair. I tell my patients to commit to a minimum of 12 weeks of consistent use before making any judgments. Some people see changes earlier. Many do not notice significant improvement until the 12 to 16 week mark, and some people need even longer. Consistency means maintaining your application schedule even when you do not feel like it, even when you are tired, even when you do not think it is working. 2 to 3 times per week, every week, for at least 3 months. This is non-negotiable if you want to give this remedy a fair chance. It also means being realistic about what you can expect. This is not a pharmaceutical drug that will regrow a full head of hair on a bald scalp. No topical remedy, traditional or otherwise, can do that. What this remedy may do is help support healthier conditions for the hair you have, potentially slowing thinning, strengthening existing hair, and in some cases helping to restore some thickness to areas where follicles are still functional but struggling. Let me share some practical tips that can help maximize your results. First, time your applications for convenience. Many people find that applying the treatment in the evening, wearing the shower cap while watching television or reading, and then showering before bed works well. The onion and garlic scent is largely removed by morning. Second, protect your pillowcases and clothing. The mixture can stain fabric, so use old towels and consider putting an old t-shirt over your pillow even after washing your hair, just to be safe. Third, be patient with the scent. Yes, onion and garlic have strong odors. Most people find that thorough washing removes the smell, but if you are sensitive to it, you can add a few drops of rosemary or lavender essential oil to the mixture. These oils may also have their own benefits for scalp health. Fourth, do not skip the massage portion of the application. The scalp massage improves circulation and helps the active ingredients penetrate more effectively. Take the full 5 minutes to thoroughly massage your scalp. Fifth, maintain good overall scalp hygiene between treatments. Keep your scalp clean but do not overwash. Use gentle sulfate-free shampoos that will not strip away natural oils. Sixth, support your hair health from the inside as well. Eat adequate protein, stay hydrated, and ensure you are getting sufficient vitamins and minerals through a balanced diet or appropriate supplementation after discussing with your doctor. Now let me return to Robert, whose story I began earlier. Remember, Robert was the retired school principal who had withdrawn from social activities because of his hair thinning. Robert followed the traditional remedy protocol consistently for 16 weeks. He applied the treatment 3 times weekly without exception. His wife grew accustomed to the smell and was supportive of his efforts. At his follow-up visit, Robert was a different man, not just because of his hair, though he did believe it had improved noticeably. The thinning areas seemed less prominent. His hair felt thicker when he ran his fingers through it. But more than that, Robert had regained something that the hair loss had taken from him: his confidence. He told me he had returned to his Rotary Club meetings. He had accepted an invitation to speak at his former school district's retirement celebration for a colleague. "I still do not have the hair I had at 40, he said, "but I feel like I am doing something about it. I feel like I have some control again, and honestly, my hair looks better than it has in years." Robert's story is not a miracle. It is what can happen when someone takes consistent action with realistic expectations, using an approach that addresses the underlying biology of aging hair. Let me summarize the key takeaways from everything we have covered today. First, hair thinning after 60 is common and related to reduced circulation, decreased natural oils, oxidative stress, hormonal changes, and inflammation. Second, onion provides sulfur for keratin production, quercetin for antioxidant protection, and has antibacterial properties for scalp health. Third, garlic contributes allicin with antioxidant and potential DHT inhibiting effects, plus additional sulfur and antimicrobial benefits. Fourth, olive oil serves as a carrier, moisturizer, and provides additional antioxidant protection. Fifth, and most importantly, consistency and patience are essential. Commit to at least 12 weeks of regular use before assessing results. Before I conclude, I want to remind you once again that this information is for educational purposes only. While I have shared traditional wisdom and scientific rationale, this does not constitute medical advice for your specific situation. Hair thinning can have many causes, some of which require medical treatment. Please consult with your healthcare provider if you have concerns about your hair loss, particularly if it is sudden, patchy, or accompanied by other symptoms. Any topical treatment can cause irritation in some individuals, so always patch test first and discontinue if you experience any adverse reaction. Results vary widely from person to person, and there is no guarantee this remedy will work for you. If you found this video helpful, if you learned something today that you can actually use, I would be truly grateful if you would subscribe to this channel. I release new videos every week specifically designed to help people like you understand their health better and maintain their independence and vitality as they get older. I promise to always give you information grounded in science and traditional wisdom, never hype or empty promises. Please drop a comment below and tell me which of these points resonated most with you. Are you going to try this traditional Japanese remedy? Do you have your own experiences with natural approaches to hair health? I personally read every single comment and respond to as many as I can. This community we are building together is meaningful to me, and your experiences and questions help shape the content I create. If you know someone who is struggling with hair thinning, a spouse, a friend, a sibling, please consider sharing this video with them. Sometimes the most valuable thing we can do for someone we care about is share information that might help them. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I know you have many demands on your attention, and I genuinely appreciate you trusting me with these minutes. Remember, taking care of your hair is part of taking care of yourself, and taking care of yourself is how we maintain our independence, our confidence, and our quality of life as we navigate this stage of our journey. Small, consistent actions, like this traditional remedy, add up over time. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to take positive action for your own health, and I am rooting for you. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.